Hello everyone, in today's tutorial we'll see how to create this chaotic lines effect using Adobe Photoshop. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's go and open Photoshop and let's go to File, New, and we are going to create a new document with 2200 pixels for the width, 3000 for the height, and 72 in the resolution and RGB in the color mode. And if you want to print this, you can change the resolution to 300 and CMYK in the color mode. But we're not going to do this for now, so I'm gonna press OK. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to create is a brush from scratch. So let's go and create a new layer. And then we are going to the brush. And we are going to use a default brush that came in Photoshop. So just right click. And then in the legacy brush, if you are using the CC20, you will scroll down and you will find a folder that's called thick heavy brush. Just open it and select the second brush in here and make the size to around 10 to 15 pixels. So I'm gonna put 15 and then make sure that the opacity is set to 100 and the flow 100. And then of course we want our brush to be black, so make sure that the foreground color is set to black. And then we're gonna start creating a random line in a chaotic way, something like this, and make around 8 to 10 lines like this, just with your mouse. It's very easy to do, and you can always press Ctrl Z if you don't like a line that you created. Alright, so I'm gonna stick with this one in here. This will be our first brush, and then we're gonna create a new layer. And then I'm gonna start over, but this time I'm gonna try to be different. As you can see in here, the randomness is what is cool about these brushes. So just create very random brush. Alright, for this fourth brush, I'm going to create a line that starts from the edge on the top right in here. So it's gonna be our line to the end of the canvas. And I'm gonna create another one from the top left edge. As you can see, I'm creating it from here to down like this. So just gonna be our link to the end of the canvas or something like that. So just create something similar. I'm gonna make sure to put these brushes down in the link. You can download them if you want. Alright, now I'm gonna select our first layer and make it visible, and then I'm gonna save it as a brush. I'm gonna go to Edit, and I will choose Defined Brush Preset, and I will name it Brush Lines 1, and I will press OK. And as you can see, now the brush is changed to the shape, and I will do the same for the second layer. Go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I will name it Brush Lines 2, and I will press OK. And again for the third layer, go to Edit again and choose Defined Brush Presets, and again I will name it Brush Lines 3. Alright, now for the fourth brush, I'm gonna select the first layer and the second layer, and as you can see, this create this brush on top of another. This will make it cool, so I'm gonna press Ctrl T for the first layer, and I'm gonna try to rotate it, so I will make it more random, as you can see in here. Let me make it a little bit smaller because you can see the edge. I don't want anything to be close to the edge of the document, so something like this. And I will do the same for the second layer. Press Ctrl T and rotate it, put it down a little bit. There we go. And the third layer too, I'm gonna press Ctrl T, rotate it, make it smaller. Alright, so I think I'm happy with this, so I'm gonna press OK. Alright, now I'm gonna select the three of them, the first, second and the third, and then I'm gonna merge them. So I'm gonna right click and choose merge layer. And then I'm gonna save this brush. So I'm gonna go to edit, define brush presets, and I will name it brush lines 4. This is gonna be our thick brush for this effect, and I'll press OK. Alright, now I'm gonna delete this layer, and I will make the layer for visible, and I will save this brush too. So go to edit, brush presets, and I will name it brush lines 5th. That's our 5th brush. So I'm gonna press OK and delete this one and select the last layer, and again I will save it, edit, brush presets, and I will name it brush lines 6. So we'll end up with 6 brushes, and press OK. Alright, now we are done with our brush creation. Now we're gonna create a new background. So we're just gonna create a gradient for this. So I'm gonna go to this adjustment layer icon, and I will choose gradient, and I will change the gradient in here. So I'm gonna change this color stop to almost white, maybe gray a little bit in here. Alright, something like this, and I will press OK. And for this second color stop, I will double click on it, and I will make it gray, maybe 24 to 25% black in here, and I will press OK. And you can see this is set to transparent, so I'm gonna select it and make it 100% opacity in here, and I will press OK. Alright, for the style, I'm gonna change it to radial, and I will leave the angle set to 90, but in the scaling I'm gonna put around 240%, and I will press OK. Alright, let's delete this layer, and let's name this BG for background. Alright, now I'm gonna add a texture to this. So I'm gonna open the texture from here. You will find this texture down in the link from the description below, so just download it. Alright, now I'm gonna change the blending mode of this texture to subtract, and then I will set the opacity to around 60%. Alright, now we're gonna create a new layer, and we'll name this layer image. So this is where we're gonna put our image, but first we're gonna convert it to smart and object. So I'm gonna right click and choose convert to smart object, and then I will right click on it and choose edit content, and this will open it in a new tab in here. Alright, now let's go ahead and open our image, and then I'm gonna zoom quite a bit until I will get to the face features in here. Alright, and I will one click on this check mark, and maybe I will put it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna close this tab, and I will make sure to press yes, so this will update the smart object. Alright, now I'm gonna select my texture in here, and then I will one click on this group, so it will be on top of this texture, and I will name this group to brushes, and then I will one click on this new layer icon, and this will create a layer inside this group. Alright, now we'll select this image layer, and I will put down the opacity of it to around 50%. This will allow me to see a preview of the image while I'm gonna add the brushes that we just created. So I'm gonna select this layer inside the group, and then I will go to the brushes in here, and I will right click, and I'm gonna start with this 4th brush. It's a little bit thicker that we created, and I'm gonna start clicking in here. But first make sure that the opacity is set to 100 and the flow set to 100 and the foreground color set to black. If you don't have it as black, just press D to bring it to default. Alright, now I'm gonna make the brush a little bit smaller, and I will start maybe from here. So I'm gonna one click, as you can see, then we'll make it even more smaller, and I can right click and rotate the brush from here. Alright, and let's add one just right here, and again I will right click and rotate it again and add another one, maybe this time smaller, just right here. Alright, now we can keep doing this, or we can just go to this brush settings, and if you can't find this, just go to window and make sure that brush setting is checked, or you can press F5 in here. Alright, in this brush settings in here, go to this brush tip shape first and make the spacing to around 50 to 70%, maybe 62 in here, and then go to the shape dynamic, and for the side jitter I'm gonna put around 50% to 60, and we're gonna add a minimum diameter too, so I'm gonna put 17%, and angle jitter I'm gonna put more than 50% because this will rotate it, as you can see, and I want it to be rotated to around 50%. And for the roundness jitter I'm gonna put 30% or 40. Alright, you can save this brush by one click on this plus icon in here, and this will save it as this settings that we created for this. So maybe I'm gonna save this one, so I'm gonna put brush for line in here, and I will add custom, and I will press OK. Alright, now I can go back and select it, and I can still have this styles or these settings applied to it. Alright, now we can go back to our layer, and I'm just gonna click in the eyes in here to make it black with this brush, maybe make it bigger, just randomly click. I know it doesn't look that much for now, but after we're done with it, it will look a little bit better than this. Alright, I think this fine. Let's go and do more for the mouth in here. Alright, now we'll go and select this image on top, and I will put the opacity back to 100%, but this time I'm gonna clip it to this group in here. So I can just press Alt and go between the image and the group, and as you can see the cursor will change to this down arrow in here. Or you can right click on this image and choose create clipping mask, and as you can see this will clip it to this group in here. And as you can see now we're starting to have our lines effects in here. So I'm gonna go back to this layer, and I'm gonna add maybe more for the eyes, and the same in here. Just click randomly and the brush will do its things. Alright, I think this looks nice. Now we're gonna create a new layer on top of this, and I will right click and choose the first brush that we created. So I'm just gonna maybe one click just right here. Alright, or you can just go wherever you want, and instead of one click you can do 2 clicks, and this will make them more visible, as you can see. Alright, let's right click again and choose the second brush, and this time I'm gonna make it smaller, and I will rotate it a little bit, and let's go around here. As you can see I'm trying to follow the lines of the brush, maybe around here, and double click. Alright, let's right click again and choose the third brush, and let's go to this side this time, maybe rotate it a little bit. Alright, and let's go make it, let me make it smaller, and let's do it just right above here. I'm gonna add one more with this brush. I'm gonna rotate it maybe into this side, and I will do it even bigger, and I will double click in here. Alright, I think this is fine for this tutorial. We're gonna create a new layer, and now we're gonna add those lines that we create in the end when we were creating the brushes in here. So I'm gonna right click and I will add this fifth brush in here, and I want it to be coming maybe from here, like it was coming from the mouth. So I'm gonna rotate it a little bit, as you can see, somewhere in here, and I will double click. Alright, so I'm gonna do the same with the eyes. So I'm gonna right click and rotate it. And let's make it coming from the eyes like this. And I will right click and choose the last brush in here, and I will do the same for this side too, and the same for from this last part in here. So I'm gonna rotate it a little bit and double click. Alright, as you can see, now we have our effects in here, but as you can see, these colors of the image affect our lines. They don't look in here visible as much, so we're gonna fix that. So I will go to the image in here, and I will add a layer mask to it, and then I will right click and I will choose a normal round brush from here, and I will make sure that my foreground color is set to black, and I'm selecting the layer mask instead, and then I'm gonna start deleting from here. Just in the edges. If I delete too much, I can always go back by pressing X to the white in the foreground and bring back of the image in here. So I'm gonna delete in this part in here and in this part. Alright, I think it looks nice. Now I want to make the lines a little bit blurred from the edges. So I'm gonna select the three of them by pressing Shift and selecting the first one, press Shift and go down to the last one, and this will make them selected, the three of them. So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna convert them to smart objects. So I'm gonna choose convert to smart object, and then I'm gonna add a blur to the edges. So I will go to filter and I will choose blur gallery, and I will go with the iris blur in here. And as you can see, this will make the edges blurred and leave the center alone. So I'm gonna make it wider, and for the height too, and maybe I'm gonna edit these points in here. As you can see, if I press Alt, I can move these points wherever I want. So I'm gonna press Alt and put this up, and I will do the same for this one, and the same for this other one, and the same for this two. Maybe move it down, and let's put around 18 pixels for the blur, and I will press OK. Alright, as you can see, now we have this blurred out. I think it looks nice. Now we're gonna add a sharpen to this image in here. So let's go to filter and choose sharpen, and let's choose smart sharpening here. Let's make it fit, maybe zoom a little bit so we can see. Let's leave the amount to 500 for now, and let's put 0 for the radius of the noise, and the radius, let's experience with it, maybe 1 pixel, 1.2. Okay, let's leave 500% for the mount and 1.2 or 1.5 for the radius, and let's leave 0 for the noise, and I will press OK. And as you can see, this will make it sharpen and will make it more visible. Alright, now I'm gonna add an adjustment on top of this image. So I will go to adjustment layer in here and choose brighten and contrast and make it clipping mask to this one, and let's try with the brightness in here. Maybe I'm gonna put it down around 15, and the contrast I will make it 15. So this is minus 15 and this is plus 15. Let's see before and after. Alright, let's put down the opacity to 70%. Alright, now I'm gonna add a level adjustment. So I will go to adjustments in here and choose levels, and I will try to play with the midtones only, maybe. Yeah, something like 0.90. And now we're gonna add a gradient to this. So I'm gonna go to the gradient again, and I will change the gradient to maybe this time red color. Something like this, and I will change this one to a blue color. Yeah, something like this one. And again, I'm gonna make the opacity of this to 100%, and I will press OK. But for the style, I will keep it linear, and for the angle, I want to rotate it maybe like this. It will be good. And I would keep the scaling to 100, and I will press OK. Alright, now I'm gonna change the blending mode to either lighten or screen. So let's go for lighten, and then I'm gonna put down the opacity to 20%. As you can see, this will give it a really nice effect to it. Alright, so let's add one more thing. So let's go to adjustment and add an exposure. And let's go for the offset. Maybe put it to plus 0.42, and for the gamma, I'm gonna make it around 0.90. This would give it a little bit of depth. Alright, now let's make the saturation a little bit down. So let's go to hue saturation, and let's put the saturation around minus 12 or 15. Alright, and this will be good for our adjustments. So let's make everything in a group, and let's call this adjustments. Alright, now let's try this with another image. So I'm gonna double click on this in here, or right click on here and choose edit content, and let's open this image in here. And again, I'm gonna make it bigger so we can see the feature of the face, and you can always bring down the opacity and see where the eyes are located, somewhere in here, and one click on this check mark, and then make the opacity 100%, and then close this and press yes to save, and wait for it for the update. Alright, as you can see, we have the same effect in here applied for this image too. Alright, so if you don't like this, you can just turn off the adjustments in here, or edit them. If you don't like what you see, maybe make the saturation more down or more up. This depends on you, but I think this looks fine. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed and you like this tutorial and it was a little bit helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, and you know, if you try this effect, shout me out on Instagram. I would love to see what you made. And you know, stay safe, be at your houses, and have a nice day. Thank you for watching.